So we want to make a waterfall chart from these data. We got customer countries, we got budget, we got revenue. And in my waterfall chart, the budget 155 millions will be my initial value, and we'll see the waterfall transforming into the revenue at 182. So we want a waterfall chart like this with the initial value of budget here. Then each individual country will provide negatively or positively to the end goal, which is my total turnover. Actually, we want to only see the top 10 providers to my turnover countries here, and then we want to collect all the other countries in a single box here as well. So that's a small addition to this special waterfall chart. All right, first thing we need to do is to go here and add a new user dimension. And I need to title it. I'll just call my waterfall groups. And then I'm going to add four empty elements here. And the first one is my start value. So I'll just call it that. You may need to go here and delete the translations, otherwise it'll show up as total. Notice that I just add another member and click OK right away, no filters at all. And my second member here is the one that is going to contain my top 10 countries in this case. And again, delete the translation. And so on. We had outside the top 10, we got the other countries. So I'll just call this one my other countries element or member, and delete the translation. And one more to go. My end value, like this, and be gone with the translation as well. So in this way, I end up with these four members. Okay, here, and the four members just goes here on my cross tab, but put it on the vertical axis in front of your countries to get a categories like this. And now we're going to add a number of calculations, quite a few actually. And we're going to add all of those as new measures. And this is for multiple reasons, labels as you'll see later on. So let's just name this one my start value. And my start value is my budget. It's actually those 155 millions, and it's actually the sum of all the countries in each category. So I could do it as a sum, all sibling rows, comma M1 like this, to get to those 155 millions like that. Maybe I should call this one my M3. It's just easier to refer to it later on. And then another new measure, and this one is going to become my end value. And also here it's a sum of the one called all siblings, but now my M2 measure, my revenue measure, that one over there, and apply that. So now I've got those two, start value and end value. Now I'm going to calculate the differences between the budget and the revenue for each of my countries. And this one is, well, that's actually going to become my M5. I need to put an M4 to the other one. I'll call this one my M5 difference. And it's just a matter of per row to go here and pick up my M2 measure and subtract my M1 measure, my budgets from that, like this, and then apply it, and it goes there. And let's just go back and rename my end value so that it becomes M4 like this. Now the difference calculation here, this is actually where we want to base our top 10 list on. So I'm going to do a sorting on this column here like this. So now the top 10 countries here are my, well, top 10 I would like to see. And the other ones, I think the last 4 countries here will then go into my other countries category. So I'm going to make my, that'll become my other countries, other values calculation here, which will then be looking into, I can actually look into my difference calculation and look from the 11th row, the 11 into the last row, d-1, on the siblings level, the S. And yeah, it was my M5 calculation. So apply that, and there it goes. Those minus 51 millions will be the sum of the difference of the last 4 countries, I think. Yes. So let's move on. There's other values. Of course, that would be my M6. So I just want to correct that. Now let's add our M7. Now the M7 is a special thing. It's just a thing where I would like to count the row number of my first level of my hierarchy. Just call level 1 row. And my level 1 is the VF waterfall groups here. Start value is number 1, top 10 countries is number 2, other countries number 3, and the end value is my number 4. And I could do it simply. I don't really actually need the if here. So if I just do an all count, D1, and count from the first row down to the current row, but it should be on level 1.1, looking just at the first level and ignoring the second level, in other words. Will give you a correct number here. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, counting the rows on the first level. I'm going to use that later on for my labels to put the correct labels onto my waterfall columns. Talking about labels, let's do an M8 here. Call that one data for labels. It's just that right now, when we are at the first in the first group, I can actually check that by looking into my M7. So if sum D1, 0, M7, if that equals 1, then I'm in my first group. Then I would like to see the start value, and my start value was my M3, like this. Let's just put in L0 and apply it and see what it does. So here you see in my start value box, I get my start value. For my top 10 countries, I need my difference calculations. That'll be the M5. So I can put it in here. If that one is now 2, then I would like to look up my differences from down here. So that'll just become my M5. And we can go on. I will then need values in my third box. Which will be my other values, the M6. And the last one here in my fourth group, which is about my end values. I will just look up my end values, which will then be my M4. And let's send it by an L0 and apply that. Yeah, I think I got a few mistakes here. Seems that I've been pressing my insert key, so at least I missed a few T's here. Let's try it again. And apparently there's something else that is wrong. A few brackets, I think, are missing. Yeah. Okay, so a bracket missing here and there, and also down here. Okay. So if I apply this, we can better see it if I make it a little bit wider. So checking up first, second, third, and fourth group and put in the corresponding measure according to that. So that's actually what I'm doing here. Right. Let's apply it. And we can see out here we not got the correct values in the correct groups, at least for my data for labels. However, the last one, the end value here, if that is supposed to work correctly in a waterfall chart, I need to have to negate these 182 millions. So I'm going to add another calculated measure. This will be my M9, and that will be data for showing the graphs actually. So it's the same thing as I did for my M8, but just with a multiplied by -1 on the last part here. Furthermore, now we need to make sure that for my start values I only see one value, and for my top 10 countries I see the first 10 values. Other countries one value, and end value only one value as well. And for that purpose I'm going to use or work with a visibility agent. So I need to hide some of my members, and I'm just picking the first measure here. It doesn't really matter which one I pick, because I'm going to create my condition with calculations all the way. And I can actually take advantage of my M7 calculation. So if that M7 calculation, the one counting the rows on the first level, if that shows up to be on the first row, and at the same time, if we do a count from the top down to the current row within siblings, and I'm actually counting the countries here within each group, and if that count exceeds 1, then we should hide members. And you can see it here, we only showing the first country now, a single country. We don't really want to see the country name here, but we can change that later on through labels. I need to do that for the other groups as well, or if I am at the second group, then I would like, that's actually my top 10 groups, so I want to hide those above 10. And if I'm in my third group, I would like to see only one row, and in my fourth group as well, I would like to see only one row. Something is missing here. I'm missing my ors. Yeah, and OK on that. So now we see this. These subtotals we see up here, we don't really need to see those. I'll just go into properties and hide those. So there you go. These are actually the data we like to see in a graph, and these are data we like to see for labels, and we're going to use my M7s to determine which labels from the countries over here that we like to see in the graph. So let's do a copy here of this crosstab, put it down here, and turn it into a waterfall chart, this one. And immediately we can see that it looks okay. So we got our budgets and each of the top 10 countries providing positive results. But the labels down here, we need to change though. So on my dimension axis, I actually don't want to see any labels. I'll just put a label do not show there. And from my labels, if I just go here and pick up, for instance, row member, again, you can see you get too much information for start values and end values, etc. We only want to see the country names for the top 10 countries actually. So I need to go here and work with advanced label. I'm just going to delete that row member. So from here, I will be using this so-called conditional text. And this is where I'm going to use this row count thing. So that was my M7. Level 1 row. If we are looking at the first row, if that equals 1, you need to apply here. Remember that. So if we are on the first row, I would see a label called budget. And we see it there. And furthermore, if we are at the I'll actually go to my third row. I'll just skip my top 10 countries to the second row right now. But if I'm at the third row, then I would like to see other values, other countries, or whatever I'd like to call it here, like this, and apply it. Apparently I forgot to apply it up here, so I'll just try again. That one, if that equals 3, apply, then I would like to see other countries there. And for actually, if we go back here, together with my budget, I would also like to see the data. So I'm using this data for labels there. So we got 155 millions there. And that should also go together with my other countries. Data for labels goes there. So that was the purpose of this, having this made. So let's move on. If my row count is up to 4, then I would like to see it's actually my eventual revenue or turnover. I'll just call it turnover here. And again, I forgot. I need to add my data for labels as well, but I also forgot to apply my else if condition up there. So I need to go there and set it again. So if that equals 4, apply, then we'll see turnover with the correct value. So the only thing missing are just those where we'd like to see countries. So that's the final else if. I don't need to put in any condition for that except one. And then I would like to see just the row member. It comes up like this. Maybe it's a little bit too much. The top 10 countries is not really necessary here. Of course, we would like to see also the data for labels value there. But the thing with the top 10 countries, which is part of my waterfall use dimension, I can go here and say I don't want to see those labels, waterfall groups labels. Now we only see the countries by now. So top 10 countries here, other countries here, resulting in this turnover. Maybe we should work a little bit with the colors on this one here. So if I want to add a color on these, I could go here, agent, right click on one of the bars, agent, add color gauge agent. And if you go here, color element in 2 states, well, you get the green ones for positive and the red ones for negative. I want to go ahead and change that immediately. Maybe make this one a lighter green color and the other one a lighter red color. The purpose here is just to make it easier to read text on top of those colors, like over here. We got positive here. Maybe that should be named that we're looking at increases. And then the other one could be decreases. Like this. So we see it in the purpose is to see the correct labels on this legend over here. Now the initial value and the resulting value, we also need maybe an agent for that, color agent. So just added one here. And again, we could look into this M7, the row count on the first level. So if we had the first row, my budget value, I would like to see this orange color, and it goes there. The agent itself up here, maybe I should go in here and actually add a caption to that, because that caption will then be shown in the legend. So let's just call it budget. It goes there. Maybe the sequence is important, so if I want budget to be at the first, I will need to move it up here. But then you see it's actually be colored green again by this increase agent. So here maybe I need to add a little bit more that you should also ensure that your M7 there is not referring to the first row. So I could put it like this, different from one, like that. Okay, and I'll just copy this one So if we add the fourth row on the first level, I would like a darker orange color or brown color like this. And this one here, I could put in a caption right away, is my resulting turnover. Okay, and that one should be moved down to there, and there you go. Now you got the legend with the proper captions over there. Maybe you would like that legend to go on top, up there, and then put it all into consumer mode, pressing your F12 key to get a result like this.